Hi friends! So today we're going to work on an advanced stretching progression for dancers. This is going to work on our hip mobility and our stretches. So first we're going to start off with our feet apart and slightly turned out, and we're going to make sure that we sink down into those hips as far as we can go. Now once we're here, we can start to rotate the shoulders and sort of move back and forth, really getting into those hip creases. After about 30 seconds to a minute, we're going to drop down onto that left foot. You can either stay on the ball or you can go to the heel depending on your level and ability. And then we're going to switch to the other side. Now the key here is to keep the spine as tall as possible and to put the workload on your legs rather than your hands. When you're ready, we're going to rotate over top of that left leg in a lunge position, tucking that heel on the right foot all the way back, lengthening that leg as long as possible. And we're going to try to lengthen the spine again and look out into the horizon. We also want to take our hands off the floor if possible, placing it onto the knee for a deeper stretch. Now we're going to drop that right knee onto the floor and place the tops of the toes on the mat as well, sinking into that hip again. For a little extra, we can reach back with the left leg and grab that right foot. We can also take the right arm up and away. From here, let's drop down onto that right knee, and we're gonna roll it underneath us so that both hips are touching the floor and our left knee is upright. We can grab onto that knee and hold ourselves up, or we can just try to get our spine nice and straight and release the arms wherever they can go. We wanna really sink down into those hips here, so make sure that both hips are flat onto the floor. Slowly unwinding ourselves when we're ready, we're going to come back up to our lunge position and then sweep back into the center. So opening our legs up side by side. And coming back into our squatting position over that left leg. After about a minute in that position, we're going to rotate to the other side and do the exact same thing. So make sure we're lunging over that right leg, tuck that left heel back, and allow our spine and our leg to be nice and long. If we'd like, we can take our hands off the floor and place them on that right knee for a deeper stretch. Next, we're going to drop that left knee down, make sure the tops of the left toes are flat against the floor, and we're going to lean into that stretch even further. If we want to, we can reach back with our right arm and grab the toe for a deeper stretch. we're ready, let's tuck that left foot underneath and bring both hips to the floor, keeping our spine tall and allowing our arms and our shoulders to just relax as we press upwards into the spine. Great job, everybody. When we're ready, let's unwind ourselves and we're gonna bring ourselves into a forward fold with wide legs. Now we wanna go side to side to allow ourselves to just feel the backs of our legs, and we can bend them a little bit if we need to, coming back to our squat position. If you wanna go into a full squat or a primal chair, now is the time to do so. You can either bring your feet all the way together or slightly apart as we squat. When we're ready, let's take both legs and we're going to extend them forward and out to the side. Now we have a couple of options here. We can keep our feet flexed towards us, or we can point the toes depending on what your goals are. But you want to try to achieve as wide-legged as possible. So if you do your splits practice here, you may. Otherwise, we can keep them slightly forward. Keeping the spine nice and tall as always. I'm going to take a couple of deep breaths here, releasing the backs of the legs. And taking our arms, we're going to inhale, sweeping them up to the sky, and exhale from one side to the other. So let's take that left arm first, reach all the way to that left foot, inhale back up, and exhale all the way to the right side. All the while engaging that center line and bringing our crown up and out through the hips. Now, as we exhale, we're going to rotate the torso towards that foot and reach, and back to center, rotate the torso and reach. If you choose, you can put your arms in third position. Make sure that the shoulders are nice and engaged and connected to your center. Great. Now let's bring that right leg in, and we're going to rotate our torso over to the left leg and fold forward here. Grabbing wherever we can. If you can reach your toes, very nice. If not, grab somewhere onto the calf or the thigh. The idea here is to keep the spine straight as possible, so your lower body should be closer to your hips than your upper body. After a while, then we can curl the upper half of the body and try to reach the sternum to the knees. From here, we're going to bring the arms back up, reaching, and do our side fold. So this time the left rib should be closer to your legs than your right side. And we'll hang out here for a while. When we're ready, we're going to switch to the other side. So bring that left leg in, right leg is still nice and flexed. We're going to inhale, rotate the torso, and forward fold, keeping that spine nice and long if we can. After we breathe deeply for a few breaths, then we can curl the spine all the way over with our sternum to our knee. Good. Now from here, we're going to take our right side and do our side stretch. So folding over, keeping the left side all the way up. See if we can rotate the torso even further to the ceiling. Now let's unwind and bring both of our legs forward in front of us, pardon the holy socks. And from here, we're gonna inhale everything up and forward fold, still keeping our spine nice and straight. We're gonna go through a couple progressions of this. Make sure to tie the movements with your breathing. Taking both hands, we're going to grab onto the toes if we can, and now we're going to walk forward using our hips. So moving forward and backwards, we want to try to travel, keeping our shoulders locked in, our center engaged. Here's a side view so you can see. From here, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together, see how far down we can get our knees to open, and we're going to inhale deep and exhale, folding all the way over. This time you can curl the spine if you so desire. Reaching those shoulders out in front of us, spreading the fingers wide, and taking our time here. When we're ready, we're gonna really slowly come back up, shake the spine out, move around a little bit. And from here, we're gonna fold down again, but this time as we're folded, we're gonna point the toes and straighten the legs. As we inhale, we're gonna bring the soles of the feet together again. And we're gonna lift up that left foot into a full point, making sure we keep our hips on the floor and straightening the knee as much as possible. Grabbing that same leg from the inside, now we're gonna roll onto the right hip, lifting the left hip up and find another point. This time we can reach our opposite arm up, make sure we're lifted and engaged. Going into the next stage, we're going to drop that left leg down, straightening it all the way behind us. And we're gonna try to find our pigeon position. So that right leg is bent and in front, both hips are square to us, our torso is forward and tall, and when we're ready, we're gonna fold over that leg, making sure we feel that glute muscle working. The next stage is making sure we come up nice and slow. We're gonna straighten that right leg forward and bend the left leg so that we have around a 90-degree angle there. From here, we inhale up and exhale, folding over that right leg. Making sure we try to keep our hips square, even in this position. Now we're gonna head into our side split. So if you do have a side split practice, please follow along. If not, you're welcome to stay right in the previous position. Now from here, you can either have your feet flexed or pointed, whatever your goals are. We wanna try to keep the hips relatively square as we lower down. You can also use your hands for support, as long as you're taking care of your body's signals and making sure you don't overwhelm yourself. After hanging out there for about a minute, we're gonna rotate to the side and do our side splits. Again, if you don't have side splits in your practice, you can just hang out for a second and take a little breather. Otherwise, you can use your hands for support, keep that spine lifted, and try it. Nice job, everybody. All right, now taking care of our legs, let's bring the soles of our feet back together for a moment. And we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So grabbing that right leg, we're gonna go into a full point, keeping both hips on the floor. Now grabbing the inside of that right leg, we're gonna lift it, rolling up onto the left hip, still keeping everything nice and lifted and strong. Go ahead and drop that right leg all the way back, left leg forward, and we're gonna find our pigeon position, keeping both hips square if we can, and when we're ready, we can lower down all the way to the floor. When we're ready, bending that right knee, we're gonna straighten the left knee all the way out. We can keep those feet flexed if that feels nice for us. And we're gonna inhale all the way up and exhale, fold over that left leg. Still keeping the spine nice and straight if we can. Now it's time for our side splits. So using your hands for support, gently ease both legs to a straight position. Good. Now we're going to come back to center one more time. If you practice side splits here, center splits, then go ahead. And when we're ready, we'll come right back to our seated position. Nice job, everybody. You did it. Thanks for joining me on our advanced stretches for dancers. Hope to see you next time.